So let's unbox this new Atoto unit. So they've supplied 3 different looms to connect it to the car, and of course we'll only actually be using one of these. We've got 2 ISO European connectors. There's 2 of these. The yellow and the red wires, which is the ignition live and the permanent live, are reversed. It looks like Atoto have just made things easier by supplying the 2 cables, so you can just pick and choose. And the other one is going to be for other countries in the world where they don't have a standard ISO connection. They've supplied us with an external microphone. This is great. Normally have to buy these separately. Built-in microphones are terrible. So having an external mic is great because we can get quality Bluetooth hands-free calling. We've got various brackets and screws to hold the head unit in the car, which is great. We have 2 different sizes of bezel, and we have a bunch of paperwork. We have the unit itself. And here is the unit. One of the things that attracted me to this model is the fact that it has physical buttons along the bottom. I don't know, it gives it that bit of additional quality, and I guess it also makes the unit look a little bit more stock in your car as well. So along the right hand side you have a built-in mic, you have an aux in, you have a slot for an SD micro card, you have a USB port, and then you have a reset button. Let's have a look at the back. It's always nice to see lots of ports on an aftermarket head unit because it means that the functionality that we want is there. So this is a USB cable for the phone link. This will be connected to either your Android phone or your Apple iPhone. Straight away you can see that it will be great if you have an aftermarket setup in your car, because it has front and rear RCAs and a subwoofer RCA up here. So you can have 3 separate amplifiers in your car and you can control them all independently through this unit. You also have reverse camera input down here, and you also have a front video input here as well to be used as a dash cam. You have video in at the top and 2 video outs. So you could connect a DVD player or a PlayStation and then output it not only to this screen but also to 2 other screens as well. So if you have rear screens on your headrests for the kids, you can connect them up here, which is also very cool indeed. And then finally you have an aux in via RCAs on the back of it as well. You of course have the standard antenna input for the radio, and then on this side we have the mic input and something that's marked IR, which I assume is for some infrared remote control. So I found a bit of an issue with the Atoto unit before I've even installed it in the car, and that is that it is physically bigger than a double DIN unit. It's a few millimeters taller than what a standard double DIN unit has, and for that reason it doesn't fit into a standard double DIN cage like this. It's only a few millimeters, so here's the one of the brackets for one of the sides of the Atoto unit, and it just is maybe 2 or 3 millimeters too tall to actually go into a standard double DIN cage. So I have 2 different bezel manufacturers. One's a Connects 2 and I think the other one is In-Car Tech. This one has brackets on the outsides. The problem with this is the face of the Atoto unit is too big to fit in this bezel. Then I thought, okay, that's fine. I've got this other one, so I've got this other bezel here. But the problem with this is that it requires a cage. There is nothing to hold the Atoto into this bezel with. But obviously the Atoto doesn't go into any cages, so I had to get my angle grinder out and I basically cut the cage to make the Atoto fit inside it. Anyway, let's get this in the car and see how it goes. Right, so let's go ahead and install the new Atoto unit into the Saab 9.3. Got my subwoofer here, the microphone is here, got the antenna This is for my reverse camera. So we'll connect all of those up in a minute, but I'm going to show you this first. So this is the loom for the Atoto. This wire goes into the actual Atoto itself. You've got a pink wire here which is marked rear camera, and this is the trigger wire for the rear cameras. You've got parking brake here, which we don't need, and a power antenna. We do not have that in the Saab, so that is fine. Last one that's very important is the blue wire, blue and white wire here, which says amplifier turn on. And that needs to go to the blue and white wire on the main loom over here. Then you have the resistor pack for the speakers. This is what's going to stop the hissing noise when you install an aftermarket radio. And it's quite simple really. The ISO connector is comprised of two parts. One half has all the power connectors for your radio, and the other half has all the speakers. And the half that has the speakers gets plugged into the resistor pack, which then goes into the Atoto unit here. Also from the Atoto loom, you have 3 wires: steering wheel key, and steering wheel ground, and they get connected directly to the connects to CAN bus decoder here. So key 1 and key 2 go to the steering wheel key wires, and the ground goes to the ground wire. So you end up with something that looks a bit like this. So the first thing that you want to do is plug in your loom to the car. So you've got 2 Saab connectors right here, and they will only fit into one of these, so if you just pop them in, they'll click in place. It's as simple as that. Then the other side of this goes into the radio itself. So let's just pop this here. Let's see if we can get rid of some of this now. Just pop these wires into the dashboard out of the way. Right, so the antenna goes in here. The reverse camera goes into RC in, which stands for reverse camera in. My subwoofer goes into sub, and then the microphone goes into mic, and the USB we'll leave out because we need to test it now. So just gonna pop this, make some more room inside the dash so that we can actually get the radio in. Okay, good. Right, so before we run the USB cable down into the dash, I want to make sure that everything works so that I'm happy with it. So I'm going to plug the USB cable into the head unit, and then I'm going to plug the other side of it into my phone. Right, let's talk about boot up time. I'm going to turn the key and see what happens. So there's the Saab logo. Okay, so it's about 14 seconds to get to the dashboard here. Okay, so the dashboard has disappeared, and it's detected that my phone's connected to it, and it's started Android Auto, and it's showing me Waze. But before I go into Android Auto, I want to discuss the features of the unit. So this is what it looks like when it's booted up. Nice bright screen, you've got a big clock and a big date there, which I haven't set yet. Nice big colourful icons. And you also have these very nice physical buttons on the bottom, and they really are, they do add to this actually, I have to say. I do like a physical button on my head units. Right, let's have a look at the menu. Okay, so it's set out a little bit like the design of Apple Carplay, but it's very nice, smooth enough movement. So you've got Carplay and Android Auto, which we'll go into later. The radio, USB, which is grayed out at the moment because I don't have a USB device attached, but you can add a hard drive or a USB pen drive full of MP3s and other things, and it will play through this. You have Bluetooth audio, which is connected to your phone obviously, and it will show you the track and the artists and all that information. This is coming from Spotify at the moment from my phone, so this is not Android Auto at the moment. This is just standard Bluetooth streaming. If I put my car into reverse, then you can see that the reverse camera is working. So yeah, so I just pop the car into reverse and you get the reverse camera, so that's working as intended. AV in, so if you want to connect a, I don't know, a games console or a DVD player or something, you can do that. The equalizer is the sound settings, but we'll go into that later. And then phone is your ability to use your head unit as a phone. Let's start up Android Auto now, so I'm going to connect my phone to it, and you can see what it looks like when you have a phone connected. Okay, there we go. Okay, Bluetooth connection is now used for Android Auto. Okay, cool. Okay, so immediately I have satellite navigation. Okay, Google, take me home. And that's very, very quick as well. So it's hearing my voice and it's directing me. Yeah, everything about this is very, very fast. So I really, really like that. Can move around the map. Can I zoom in? Okay, no. So there's no multi-touch control, so I can't zoom in around the map, but I can move my finger around it. So that's cool. So that's Waze. If I go to the apps here, then you can see everything else on my phone which is compatible with Android Auto. So I've got Spotify, Deezer is another music app, and then you've got some messaging apps like WhatsApp and Messenger and Google Maps. So there's other stuff on here that you can use as well. Let me tell you about the sound quality of this unit, okay? So I actually really like it. So if you go into audio and equalizer settings and we have a look at the equalizer, we see that we have a 10-band equalizer here. I did find this pretty annoying actually, because you can select different like presets, but as soon as you want to edit one of the presets, it knocks everything off again because it kicks you over to custom. Like if any other radio where you're trying to change the graphic equalizer, you touch one of these and it will keep all of the other preset settings except for the thing that you moved. But this one just basically, like I'll do it again, if I hip hop for example, and I want a little bit more treble, it completely changes everything because it's knocked you over to custom. Obviously you can set this however you want it and it will save, but that's just an annoying little issue with it. Balance and fader gives you the option to control the front, rear, left, right speakers, which is great. I have mine slightly to the further back because of the custom speakers in this car. Then you have the subwoofer filter, and you can control the level of the subwoofer as well, which is good. So you got separate control of that. It sounds great. It does sound great. It does give you enough options to adjust the audio to your particular liking. So from that standpoint, it's very good. Negative points, and there are a few. The first thing that I found highly annoying was the fact that I had to modify the mounting bracket just to get this to fit in. I could have taken a different road and cut additional space around the plastic of the other 9.3 mount that I have, but I didn't want to destroy the face. So yeah, it's annoying. It requires custom installation because the Atoto is not a standard doubled in size. It is slightly bigger, and that's an important thing to take into consideration. The second thing that is terrible is that the steering wheel controls don't work. So I thought, okay, well maybe my CAN bus decoder has suddenly become faulty, but I have another one. I have another CAN bus decoder which I know works fine for this car, and that doesn't work either. So that's terrible. Like, It's not as bad as it could be because you have the physical buttons on here. If this was just a touchscreen unit and you had no steering wheel controls, then that would be just terrible. Now that might just be for Saab, just, you know, the Saab 9.3. It might work on other cars, but the fact is it doesn't work for us with this one, so yeah, that's a big negative. It's a good effort, Atoto. I want to be clear, Atoto radios are generally very good. They are ranked up there when you're buying an Android-based radio because they do have a decent, it's a decent brand and you get good customer services, etc. This Linux-based one, unfortunately, just doesn't have the same standards that the Android-based ones that they make have, simply because, first of all, the sheer size of it makes it very difficult to fit into standard double DIN environments, and secondly, the steering wheel controls don't work on it in this car, and you know, that's pretty unforgivable. So Atoto, sort it out please.